2 days ago, I had one of my regulars come in and she asked me, "Did you work all weekend?" And I said, "Yes, I did, but today is my Friday, so I have the next 2 days off." And she said, "Well, what are you gonna do for your weekend?" And I said, planting. I'm planting so many seeds because it is February and that is a month that is really good for planting. I want to get on my garden game this year because last year it kind of fell short. I'm gonna tell you about some of the things I'm doing differently this year and what I'm planting mostly. The thing that I am most excited about is my zucchini. I planted a couple seeds. I would say a week ago, they came up, they started pulling up the little zucchinis out of their seed packet. And it had been wanting to come out for a couple of days. And then last night, it opened up. They both opened up, and then this morning they just look beautiful. They have a really good, strong start to them. They're just lush and full. Their stem is really short to the ground, which means that it's getting enough sun. Last year when I tried planting things, and I did have a few successful things, but I just didn't give any of my seedlings a strong enough start. So they need lots of water to be moist but not soaked. You don't want them to lose oxygen. And then sun. They need so much sun, and I can't wait to plant them outside. Right now I've got them in pots. I'm putting them outside in the heat of the day in the sunlight because it is February, so it's not that intense yet. At night, I think the sun sets at 7. I'll take them in and put them under my grow lights so they get a little extra sun because they can get like 14 hours of sun, all my seedlings. Last year, my zucchinis did make it past the seedling stage and it had the most beautiful flowers until our flowers, they would fall off. Some of them looked like they had been eaten off. They were just riddled with pests and we didn't really realize it until too late, so they just didn't make it. We did grow a couple zucchinis, like probably that big. This year it's gonna be different. I haven't been worrying about pests on the plants I've been taking in and out because they just haven't been getting any. I have been looking because I check for mildew, especially on my pepper plants. That really affected them, but now they're all good. We cleared it up, thank goodness, because it sounded like a nightmare online. It sounded like it was completely unsolvable. That's not true. It's totally solvable. On my strawberries, the undersides of the leaves, I've been turning them over and examining them, and I did find a couple. Well, they're like tiny caterpillar looking bugs that just destroy the leaves. Recently, I changed from just looking to brushing my fingers on the undersides of the leaves, and then the little caterpillar-like things will curl up and drop from the leaf, and I'll just look in the soil if there are any and then kind of crush it with a stick. I don't want to like do it with my hands, and then put it in the soil and put some sand over it, and it'll probably make a tiny bit of good compost. I'm gonna get them, every last one of them. I've found probably 5 on my strawberries because my strawberries stay outside all the time because there's just too many to move in and out, and they actually really like it. It's enough light, I think, you know, and they last a couple years, so I'm less worried about them having the strongest start in the first year. So my strawberries are June bearing short day variety strawberries. That is good for where I live. I live in a really hot climate. Strawberries like to be kept moist, which is why everyone kind of puts straw on top of them or mulch so that it locks in some of that moisture so it doesn't evaporate as easily. And you also waste less water that way. I haven't done that yet, but I do plan on it, especially when it starts fruiting. But I have been watering them at least once a day and sometimes twice a day. And while I check them throughout the day for moistness levels, I will also make sure, of course, the pests and that their crowns are situated right. Let's say this is the soil and this is the strawberry. Here. You want the roots to be under the ground. You want its crown to be above the ground. They are really picky about that. A lot of other plants really aren't that picky. When you water them, the soil kind of lifts up and resettles. I like them to be kind of dug out into little dips because it conserves the water in such a hot climate. So I will go around once a day and check that their crowns are at the perfect place. If I see some roots, I'll just cover it back up with some soil / sand. What I have here is really more sand. If the crown is beneath the soil level, I'll just quickly dig out around the plant to make sure it's comfy. When I first transplanted my strawberries outside, one of the strawberry plants immediately started blooming, like in a couple days after I planted it. And I was reading that you should pluck off any blooms because it'll leave more energy for the roots and just grow a bigger plant in general. So that is what I did, and now it's blooming again, and it's been a couple weeks, I would say. And so I'm just gonna leave it. I want to see what happens. I know it might be a little early. Actually, it probably is. It's February and they're supposed to be June bearing plants, but I just want to see what happens, okay? I planted 2 types of lettuces, Jericho romaine lettuce and Manoa lettuce. The Manoa is more bushy and short. The romaine's a little bit longer, kind of square. And then the Manoa is more like leaf-like. It's a little more round already. And the Manoas sprouted up really early. So I'm planting basically everything from seed except for the strawberries. And 4 out of 6 have already come up of the Manoa, and 1 out of 6 of the romaine have come up. So I don't know, maybe I planted the other seeds too deep. I'm fine with it. I have plenty of seeds, so I'll just plant some more on my next week, on my next off day. And then I have a variety of butternut squash that is called butterscotch butternut squash. So it's supposed to be really sweet, which I love because I like eating my squash sweet. So I'm so excited. Those have not come up yet, but I am crossing my fingers that they work out. I also have a variety of beans this year I'm growing. Red noodle beans, and they apparently get really long. I planted them last year, but really did not take care of them or trellis them at all. And so we only got 2 bean pods and we didn't eat them. I'm just gonna plant them and see if they come up or not. But apparently they could get up to or even higher than 8 feet. So I'm thinking of doing a little like overhang trellis that you can also walk under. I think I'll get my boyfriend to make it for me. I also planted broccoli. It's broccoli de seco head. I think I've only planted 1 and the 1 has come up already. Kale has also come up. I planted the Lacinato, I think it's called. I'm not really sure on the name, but it's the longer one that's kind of bunched up and really dark green. That's my favorite personally. I also have a few carrots going, some that I planted some weeks back that are doing pretty okay. I kind of neglected them and now I'm treating them better. And then one that has already sprouted already from seed from a few days ago. And the variety is New Kuroda carrot. And it's like a subtropical variety. That should be good. I can grow it here a lot. I also have some onions that I planted a while back and then just neglected them. I honestly thought they would die and they just haven't. So I'm gonna put them outside in the shade and try to take better care of them. I just gave them fertilizer, so we'll just see what happens with that. I literally have no idea what will happen. So they seem a little bit invincible and that's why I've decided to keep them around. I've also planted echinacea and marigold flowers and they haven't come up yet, but I would be super excited to have those because we love bees. We actually have a beehive right near our house. It's like a wild beehive inside of this kind of dead tree that's still standing. Goodness, it is very warm in here. Yeah, that's it. I'm done. Well, thank you for listening and watching, and I will see you in the next video. I'm so happy to show you what I do on my day off, and this is mostly what I'm doing right now because it's right before spring and that is the perfect time to be planting. So if you want a garden, now is a great time to start one.